Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the fun show here at Big TV. Michael is subtly noting that a new year began yesterday for fathers. Yesterday was Father's Day, a lovely day that occasionally people remember. And my daughter and her family took Civil War, Father's Day.
Yes, Father's Day, Civil War. Why
Anyway,
not?
my kids took me to brunch, and it struck me that it seemed more like Mother's Day. There were big crowds and things. I never remember Father's Day being quite so big.
Yeah, well, I was invited out by my daughter, and we went to this restaurant, and a big sign said, "We're closed."
Did it have a sign that said we're closed?
It said,
when I went there a week
new
ago-
management.
When I went there a week ago, there really was no sign. It was just the large aluminum ladders set up in the dining
Yeah,
room.
well, anyways.
Chef Chow's was one of my favorite.
Yeah,
and
okay,
now
well,
it's
now it'll have a new name probably.
now it's gone. Yeah, apparently all they're changing is
Chef
the name.
Chin.
Although the fish tanks were empty, that's what convinced me.
That's what did it, the fish tanks.
Convinced me the fish tanks were empty.
I like the fish tanks.
But you tried a place. I like the restaurant.
I like the restaurant. Everybody at this place where I am, all the old folks like the restaurant.
Well, I guess that's
They'll
it.
say
I
me, who
guess-
told you could say that?
I guess if our generation likes it, it's time to go out of business, right?
Well, it sounds like it.
Is that what it's all about?
Millennials or something like that. I don't know.
Whatever we are.
Yeah.
We're well, I guess I'm actually too old to be a baby boomer.
Yo, you're not a baby. You're
You
not
know,
a baby. No.
But you have a lovely title because what you are is you're the greatest generation.
Thank you.
That's what you are. You're the
Everybody. Oh, now, I have a friend over there who I promoted him to colonel.
Yes.
His name is Eugene.
Do you have the right?
What?
Do you have the right to make promotions?
I thought about it, and afterwards I said, probably I don't.
What was your highest rank, sir?
He'll-
Staff sergeant?
No, I was a technical sergeant.
You were a tech sergeant.
Texas sergeant, 5
Okay.
stripes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that's all right. Sergeants, if we're going to give the power to promote to anyone, it ought to
Well,
be the
I'm gonna
sergeants.
tell you
Wait a
about-
second, Mike. Wait. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
This is the June 17th edition of the Fun Show here, and the gentleman I'm talking to over here is Michael Sallin, sitting behind the keyboard.
I still think so.
I'm Arch O'Reilly.
Right.
And I regret to inform you that the seat normally occupied by Susan Harrington is not here.
She's missing.
She's missing. We have an empty space in between. There are those who tell me we have an empty space up here, but other than that.
I have 2 empty spaces up there.
All right,
okay?
so having taken care of those requirements, what were you saying, sir?
I was going to tell you about a young woman. I have to tell you her name is Gwen Lynch.
Okay.
Gwen Lynch. Gwen Lynch. Let me find this thing here again. I got it. Gwen Lynch is the only and last students at the Cuttyhunk Elementary School.
Oh,
She's
yes.
in the 8th grade, and when she graduates this month,
They're going to have to tear down the Cuttyhunk School, are they?
maybe somebody will buy it for a.
And transport it, put it next to their lighthouse.
Now you're talking. She graduates from the school. I don't know what. It's 12 miles, Cuttyhunk, from New Bedford, and she's been going. She's a regular student. She gets up early in the morning. She goes to all her classes, and then she has all her books she carries.
Is this a K-12 school? Do you know?
Well, it says there's 10 people living there all year round.
So next she has to get on a boat to go to school, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, but her name is Gwen Lynch. If you meet her,
Congratulations, Gwen Lynch.
and take one of those those shots with the camera, the
Selfie.
so
Selfie.
selfies.
Yes. Yes.
so we can see it.
Only is they rarely take it with a camera. It's all with phones these days. As a matter of fact, I'm always impressed when somebody wants to take a picture of me with a real camera,
With a real camera.
because that's like 20% of the time maximum. You know,
Okay.
everybody has stopped and said, "Can I take your picture?" I should explain to you folks that it's not this face they want to take the picture with. It's when I'm portraying General Henry Knox. Then I get
That's
a lot
right.
of pictures.
They all saw your picture. I handed out the card,
Yeah.
and they wanted to know if you were coming.
Coming-
in your outfit.
I will if they want me to.
Well,
sure.
I'm trying to. I'm
Can
negotiating.
they have an event? Can I talk to them and answer
Of
questions and
course.
stuff?
I will.
Good.
I will negotiate.
I will
with-
be delighted to come.
All right. They'll hear. They're hearing this now.
All right, folks.
They're listening.
If you want General Henry Knox to come and visit you folks, he'll be delighted to do it.
Okay.
Now, as you said, we have very few good news things these days. Everything is a
Unnaturally
problem.
terrible.
We've got this jackass Pompeo trying to convince the world that Iran attacked some ships. And it makes you stop and think, what self-respecting country on earth is going to believe anything this administration says? We now live in a country that is the laughingstock of the world, and
I laugh a
nobody's going to take. Well, they can afford to laugh. They don't live here.
That's right.
I mean, I have friends in foreign countries who call me up periodically just to give me their sympathy
True.
on
I
things.
have 2 grandsons that call me and tell me this.
However, on the other hand, things are not wonderful everywhere.
Right.
They were having a big celebration, we know all about them, for the Toronto Raptors up in Toronto today, and it got broken up by gunfire.
Well, there you are. In Canada.
In Canada, a nice,
Wow.
peace-loving, friendly, polite Canada.
Incredible.
It was probably some people from California, but on the other hand, our
There's good and bad in everybody. you know,
yes, in our obituary
To quote the president.
category, did you note that Gloria Vanderbilt passed
Yes.
away?
She passed away. Okay.
Her son is some sort of celebrity.
I was going to tell you there's another woman who passed away. Her name was Ma Rainey.
Ma Rainey,
Yeah.
one of
She's
the
85.
early blues stars.
The mother of the blues.
Well,
New York Times.
I
said.
wouldn't say that, but
Well, they said that.
they
okay.
can say that.
They said it. And she did minstrel shows. And I
Right.
think she put on that stuff too.
Well, the New York Times made a big deal out of the fact that she was bisexual. I have the feeling back when she was getting famous, she was not promoting that a lot.
I don't think so. I would say not.
It seems a little 21st century.
She helped Bessie Smith too. Bessie Smith. They made countless
Yes, I thought
recordings.
I would say that Bessie Smith was more likely the mother of blues.
But wait a minute. But the main thing, one of the things that they didn't push was the fact that she delivered she sang in all these places and concerts everywhere, all over the country, in segregated
Oh, sure.
auditoriums, all
sure.
of them.
Sure.
I think that was worth, that should have been promoted a little
Well,
more.
actually, what was it that? Oh boy, I forget the name. Sorry, folks, I have nominal Alzheimer's. Who was it who sang on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial because they wouldn't let her in the DAR hall?
A famous
One of the great American singers of all time.
opera star and everything.
And now, to make me believe that we should reinstate some level of segregation, Donald Trump wants to speak from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial.
This is the 4th of July.
Right, on the 4th of July.
And he's he's already named this.
His speech, Honor of America or something.
Yeah. Salute.
Well, all I can say is that if there's any real power in the world, Martin Luther King will emerge from the monument and kick his butt off the steps
But
of
maybe
the thing.
he's going. What about will he go in the parade? He loves the parade. He could be in
I
a
love
tank.
a parade.
He could be sitting in one of those tanks.
He's just grumpy because they wouldn't put on his big military parade with his tanks rolling down
Well,
Pennsylvania
But
Avenue.
anyways, they're changing the color scheme on the
Well,
the
says
president's
he.
plane.
The fact of the matter is that I like the explanation that I heard on television was that it was a McDonald placemat that he'd colored in, and they told him he was designing the plane. You know, did you notice that there were like 6 airplanes on
Yes,
there?
I
that
noticed there was 6 airplanes. That's the thing he was coloring in.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this is while he
keeps
was
busy on
waiting
those-
for
on
his
those
fries.
planes,
You know, and,
That came from the CIA. Those pictures.
and his Diet Coke on
Right.
things.
Okay.
Here was an interesting thing. Well, first of all, we should mention David Ortiz. Totally, there's nothing about that isn't strange and odd. First of all, you know, they claim it was a hit. Then the gunman who denies the gunman said, well, he wasn't the target. But there's like 11 or 12 people they've
Right.
arrested.
They keep arresting new people.
The only good thing about it is
They're
that
all staying in jail for a year.
David seems to be doing well.
Yeah,
So,
sounded. But that was a
that's
big
good.
operation. He had a lot of surgery done.
he did.
Yeah.
And they got him up here quickly. And
And those were doctors down there who did the surgery.
well, then they did a couple more when they got him up here.
Yes, true.
On things.
And he got up. He's walked a little.
Yep. So they say.
So they said.
Here's another story that's not nearly as well known. There was one of the kids who was a survivor of the Parkland shooting, the Parkland High School student. And then he became, you know, one of the
Kids who
spokesmen and et
went to
cetera.
Washington. Went to
He
protest.
ironically was a hardcore conservative.
The kid
Apparently, this was one of the conservatives that getting shot didn't
didn't
change him at all. He had been admitted to Harvard, I think, in an abundance of sentimentality or something. Well, then it comes out that before the shootings down there, he had posted a lot of really hardcore racist material online. So
We
he's
shouldn't laugh.
very sorry he did.
It's pathetic.
He's either sorry he did or he's sorry that Harvard has uninvited him to come to Harvard.
Is Harvard
Which
gonna
is a
be-
little tough to be told, okay, kid, you're not coming to Harvard on June 3rd, but he's been uninvited to attend Harvard University.
Well, that's
Now,
go ahead.
you turn on the TV
Right.
and you see over 1 million people,
Right.
literally over a
Over a
million
million
people
people.
in the streets of Hong Kong.
That little place.
And yeah, but it's part of China, so 1 million is, but in any case, the crowds are as big as Donald Trump thought the crowds at his inauguration were. And they're there, seem to be there for the long run. They're really bent out of shape. They're objecting. 1 million people's in the streets. And my reaction is, what's wrong with America? Why
I
are
don't-
there not 2 or 3 million people
In front of
surrounding the White House saying, we're going to stay here till you leave?
well, you got to have the food trucks there and everything else.
Okay, I'll handle the food trucks. You handle the air support, okay?
I will. Yes, I will be spraying a
We'll
lot
be
of stuff around there.
Now, speaking of Donald J. Trump, he came out the other day saying that he might just have to stay past his second term,
Right.
that his fans
Want to
will demand that he stay longer, and that he just may stay 10, 14 years.
Yes. It sounds suitable.
You know, why should I be bothered by the Constitution of the United States? I haven't paid any attention to it yet. Which raises the question, because on the very same sheet of the newspaper is a story about this guy, Steve Mnuchin,
The Secretary of the Treasury.
who now apparently is not so sure that he can stop Harriet Tubman from being on the $20 bill in spite of Donnie Boy's objections.
She was underground.
But this is a guy, why is he loose? He should be in prison.
Yes, he should be.
He has not one single iota of legal standing to deny the Congress of the United States, Donald Trump's tax returns.
Right.
It's very specific in the law that they are entitled to any citizen's tax returns that they ask for.
Well, they're
There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
they say he's in contempt now.
And yet he says, no, I'm not going to do it. No. William Barr, no, I'm not going to send you the report. Mnuchin, no, I'm not going to send you the stuff you're entitled to. But as we said before, the problem with the Constitution, which is now becoming very plain, is that the Congress has no enforcement arm when faced with a totally rogue administration. If they just say, we don't care what the law is, screw you,
They ignore it.
we're
that's
not
all.
listening, blah, 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 blah.
And the president is a law above the law.
If the president does it, it's legal. He actually said that in his interview
Right.
the other day. And here's the question. Is it getting more and more likely that he will sign a piece of paper, declare an emergency, and do away with the 2020 elections?
Well, that's entirely
And
possible.
if he does, what can we do
We can file another contempt of court.
other than take our lesson from the people of Hong Kong?
Right.
You know,
Maybe we could bring them here. How many ships would it take to bring them here? They could cross over with those people at the south border.
what do we have? 380 million people in this country?
335 million people.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
And don't forget the census business.
All right. Now,
That's
1% of that,
Are you a citizen?
1% of that would be 10 million people.
Right.
I'm sorry, 3% of that
3%.
would be 10 million people.
Okay, they could come.
It's gonna be interesting to see what the court does about this census thing, because
Well-
the court actually stood up
Yes.
and turned down the Republican
yes.
gerrymandering of Virginia, which was interesting to say. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be a time for the unrehearsed Thespian Society's presentation for tonight, which is a monograph on our dear and loving young friends, the student residents of Brookline, since it is just recently the end of the term.
Okay.
It's over, right?
Mostly.
If you say so.
Well, we had the graduation.
Yeah, and I'm still recovering.
It's safe outside, I think.
But it's been bad for days and days.
Well, compare it to last year.
I'm just tired of it.
Merchants and realtors are ecstatic
Lots of rental trucks, SUVs, vans, cars.
and double parked.
They say it's only for a few days.
Grin and bear it.
But there's blocked driveways.
Loud and noisy.
We live here now. This is their line.
Daring us to come out.
Why do we put up with it?
It's America.
Colleges need more dorms.
They already own more land
It's about their big donors.
and bigger endowment.
Higher tuition and fees.
The parents will be broke after 4 years.
Not to mention their broken backs from all the moving.
It's good for the local economy.
Yeah, well, what about my life?
You're old.
What, so I don't count?
Not like all the new tenants in each flat.
There are town bylaws.
What about the post office deliveries?
Aren't dorm rooms cheaper?
Cleaner and safer?
Independence is important.
No prying eyes.
Or supervision.
Maybe a big deck or a back porch.
Perfect for big parties.
But not for neighbors.
But we get up early for work.
And youngsters for school.
It's unreasonable.
the police come after 11.
And they tag day and night.
The overflowing trash.
Skateboards and footballs and street basketball games.
My worst nightmare.
What happened to privacy?
It's about living in the city, man.
Kids practicing instruments.
Well, sure, blame it on the kids.
And the profanity.
Urinating on shrubs. Like dogs?
Street people tearing into rubbish bags.
Or emptying barrels.
And you left out the furniture.
Old is out. New in.
Well, should we give up and move?
To where?
In this blighted landscape?
We're doomed.
Crowded bars and restaurants.
Then there's that local frat house.
I thought they were here to study.
And learn.
What about libraries?
Clothing stores and discounts.
Rock concerts.
Good films. Local theater.
Loud conversation on those porches.
Try sleeping during a keg party.
College community services.
Parental warnings and fines.
Suspension threats.
Visit the supermarket. Long lines.
They're destroying neighborhoods.
And criticism generates vandalism.
Defacing fences, breaking windows.
Scratching paint on cars.
Nasty phone calls endlessly.
But I love my home.
If it's war they want.
They're not driving us out.
Easy, easy. Remember your heart.
Time for vigilantism.
Condo owners sublet.
But we're in for the long haul.
Barricades, stockades.
Laugh, but we're sticking.
It's our space, too.
Why, it's unsafe for animals.
Don't forget the outdoor barbecues.
Indoors.
Isn't that dangerous?
Ask the fire department.
Kids' creed. We live here, too.
So individuals temporize.
Hoping friendly words will help.
By God, we have rights, too.
Yeah, we were here first.
Romney's family came from Mexico.
Oh, really? Interesting.
And I hope it will be over tomorrow.
We've run into one of those situations where the scripts aren't the same.
Wait a minute.
You get respite from the holidays,
If they go home,
and it's only temporary.
so hostilities renew on their return.
Disturbing the peace. It's a new folk song.
The problem is perpetual, right?
As long as owners and agents are indifferent.
So what's the solution?
Why does it have to be a tragic event?
Raise the taxes, right? Good intentions are not enough.
This woman planted a grapevine in 1910,
It's still alive and growing,
and
right?
everybody eats the grapes.
Doesn't need much care.
Just to live and to grow.
That's all, and a little peace and sleep.
Amen.
Blackout.
So that's it.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, it's called Invaded, which will tell you what the old dogs think about all the students in the neighborhood.
Well,
But
I feel bad for Anita Hill after all this that's going on.
Anita Hill, I thought she was doing fine. What's the matter?
Well, she still remembers what happened there in 1991 when she got all that. When she was bringing those charges about sexual harassment against a man who's on the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
And then she gets to relive it all when they want to put Kavanaugh in.
So he apologized. The man who was the chair was John Biden.
Joe Biden.
Joe? I thought his legal name was, all right. Anyway, Joe said...
Joe Biden, who is still in the lead but falling fairly quickly.
Yes, but he apologized for this, and she said the apology wasn't good enough, and evidently things haven't changed a lot.
Yeah, proving that it's probably not worth it to bother apologizing.
No, I guess not.
But
Who do you think? Do you think that Iran really did those things to those two tankers?
who knows? I certainly can't believe the people who are saying so.
Do you think that Bolton, that man who wants war, you think he might have tried to build up something there?
You mean Trump or you mean
He's
Bolton?
Bolton.
The guy with the
big mustache?
dustpan mustache?
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him having the CIA do that. I think unfortunately, if there were two countries saying opposite things, my tendency would be to believe the one that's not the United States.
Well,
Right?
Bolton, I believe Bolton. He's 100% honest, straightforward.
100%.
He just wants war. That's all.
100% homicidal lunatic.
Well, he wants war, and that would make things a lot simpler as far as Russian evidence from Mueller.
Do you think he wants war just because he thinks it's fun or exciting, or does he have a financial interest in getting
That's
the
a good
United States
question.
in
I
war?
don't think he
I mean,
does.
most of these things are financial
Yeah,
interests,
but I think
right?
he needs to see a doctor. That's what I think. You agree with that?
A doctor of psychiatry?
Yes, naturally. I spoke to somebody at a place where I'm living.
Well, I'd take the whole bunch of them, and to show you what a soft, woolly-headed, soft-hearted liberal I am, I'd send them all to a federal institution with a good psychiatric department.
That would be good. They have this place out off the coast of San Francisco. It's not used much.
Oh, Alcatraz?
Alcatraz, and I've seen pictures of it. They have sharks offshore.
Sharks offshore.
Yeah, that might be a good place.
It's a shark habitat or whatever they call them,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, well, I think the place has been abandoned for like the last
Well, so what?
30 years or something. When did they close
Why don't
Alcatraz
they
down?
use that for some of these people that are crossing the border? He could bring that up.
The place is falling apart.
Well, they could
Michael.
work. There's a lot of jobs.
No, they're sending them to Portland, Maine.
I know, but
is what they're
what are they
doing.
going to do? Clean up beaches there?
There's
What-
this
what-
story about all
this
these
is- this
Central
is,
Africans
structure.
who are all of a sudden arriving at the border and getting sent to Portland, Maine. How do Central Africans get get
That's
there?
right. Now they're coming from Africa.
It's an interesting question.
We read that in the New York Times today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the June 17th edition of The Fun Show. And I had something scheduled for today, and somehow we got sidetracked on it. So we're going to address this the next time, the next show,
What's it?
which, with good luck, will be next Monday
Can you
night.
give us a hint?
Yes. You're going to finish the story you started
Oh,
last week.
this will get people.
We
on.
got you all the way up to the Russians liberating your POW camp, which is something to think about already, being liberated by the Russians.
And they all
And
had vodka.
half the camp on the other side of the wire were Russians. So I want to hear the story about how the colonials
True. That's what
And
the
the
British
Brits-
called us. The Brits.
got home since they were on the wrong side of Germany.
And we were 800 miles away from our bomber base.
And what happened to the Russian prisoners when this happened. So we're going to tell these stories on the next edition of the Fun Show here
Sounds
on Big
very
TV.
exciting. I'm interested myself.
You're interested to hear the story?
I will hear
Well,
the
you're
story.
going to tell it.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
because if I tell it, it's going to be highly inventive.
should I?
Be forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Fun Show. Hopefully, Susan will be with us next week. We'll be here, and we're going to tell war stories.
And just remember, we're serious.
We're serious.
Yes.
We're serious here on the Fun Show.
That's it. Okay.
All right, fade.